So I am going to be recording so they'll be able to do this session as well. But want this to be a little bit interactive. Brenda and I are here today to talk to you about culture, and it's huge. I mean, it's something that we really have been trying to focus on, and it's something that we need your help with because this is going to make us stronger and help us along the way. And you would never have thought that the climb back from, I hate to even say the word, but the COVID era, it was so hard. But it really has been. It's really taking a lot of time to kind of get back to the places that we were. So we're really trying to get there. We're doing a really great job of it, and we came through everything. So now it's time that we kind of get back to the core concepts and the big things that make us who we are. So let's just start our day today of what is culture. This is the definition. I just go into Webster and give you the definition, which you all kind of know what that is. The definition that I like better is this one that came from LinkedIn, which company culture is like the personality of a company. It's how people feel and act when they're working there. So I think that that really sums it up really simply. And it's really easy to identify. It's easy to be a part of. And I think that's why I like it so much. So that's what we're going to talk about here. Um, I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about some generalities, and Brenda's going to talk about more about our specific company itself. So if you guys have any questions along the way, please don't be afraid to ask. I'm going to probably get you to be involved here a little bit, so I will probably be calling on you, and we'll give you just a minute to unmute. Um, so happiness at work is important, right? You like to be happy when you come into work because it makes your shifts go fast, makes the work seem easier, I think, when you're on shift. Here you see some statistics, but I think it's important to see that, disengaged employees have a definite effect on your business. So you can see here they talk about absenteeism, theft, and just burnout. But I think the big one here for me is just like we put it into dollars. So the disengaged employee is going to cost you 34% of their salary. I really should be speaking more clearly, so I apologize. I'm going to like slow down. I've had a crazy day today. 34% is an outrageous amount. So if they're there, but they're not performing and they're not helping, they're not participating, they could cost you 34% of their salary. Also, they're more likely to quit, absolutely. And you have that bigger turnover. I know you probably have all heard from your managers, your GMs, or your DMs about your turnover rate. Something that everybody has a focus on because we want to get in good employees and we want to keep them. And that's part of having a good culture. That's really what helps to retain your employees is to have a good company culture. Down below from Restaurant Dive, there is percentages and statistics again, just for the restaurant industry, because we know that our industry does always usually have a much higher percentage of turnover. Happy to say that we also, as a company, Haas's Marzoni's usually has a little bit lower turnover rate than the average statistic. So we have to be doing some things right. So that's a real positive thing in our favor. So when it comes to culture, I have four different things here. Clear vision and core values, transparent leadership, recognition and appreciation, or work-life balance. And I'm going to put flexibility in there because you'll see me interchanging those. Work-life balance and flexibility, I think, like kind of come together in a restaurant. It's hard to have some work-life balance per se when depending on what industry it is, but I think the flexibility is a good word for us. So I'm going to start out and I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to first ask you what you think, well, what's most important to you as an individual? How about Barb and Chad?
We didn't hear what you said, Pam. What was the question?
Can
Sorry.
you hear me? Is everybody able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks, James. I like that. I got a nice thumbs up from James. Um, these four concepts that are on the screen, I wanted to know which one of those you as an individual feels the most important to you.
I would say recognition and appreciation. It's a tie with work-life balance also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Be
we're going to pick number
respected.
one. So I'm going to take recognition and appreciation. How about you, Chad?
I would say the same
Okay.
as of being respected and given respect.
Okay.
I know. Yeah.
That's good. This is all individual. There is absolutely no right or wrong answer. So how about we have Christine? Can you hit your microphone down in the corner? You're muted. There you go.
I was trying. I'm on a new tablet, so I'm still
That's
figuring
okay.
out. Mine would probably mostly be work-life balance since I'm a single mom. So I need time, to be able to have the time between work and her, especially, so.
Yes. Yes. And so you can because of our company. So,
Yeah.
James, what do you think?
I think recognition and appreciation are probably the most important to me.
Okay. And how about, do we have Yasmin down there?
Yes, I would say recognition and appreciation.
Recognition and appreciation. Okay. So now I'm going to flip it. So stay on with me, Yasmin. I'm going to ask you another question. So what do you think is most important to your crew? When you observe them overall, what do you think is one of the things that is most important to them from these four?
I would say recognition and appreciation.
Okay. How about Christine? You're next.
I would say the same. Recognition and appreciation goes a long way in our work.
Okay. James?
Recognition and appreciation.
Okay. And then our dynamic duo, Chad and Barb.
Recognition and appreciation here.
Yeah.
I get a yes? I get a no, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So it's unanimous from this group. You think that your crew wants recognition and appreciation. So sometimes what you think and sometimes what is important are two different things. So it's important for you to really find that out. How do you find that out?
Communication.
Yes.
Understanding your employees and understanding what makes them happy in the workplace or even outside of workplace sometimes.
Okay. And what's a really simple way to find that out? I know you said communication, but communication through what?
Conversation.
Yeah, just talking to them. Simply asking them is a huge way to find that out. And then you're not guessing. You're not playing a guessing game because if you're going to do things and you want to make people happy, you want to do things that they feel are valuable. Okay. I like that Christine actually said, she had a little different outlook because it's important for her to spend time with her daughter. There she is, she's working hard to provide, but she wants to spend time. So how is that reflected? We do things that are important. We have holidays off. That's probably big for you, Christine, I'm sure. You don't have to worry about it. You know that all the holidays you're going to be able to be with your family. So there are important things that are out there, and there are things that we can use to our advantage. We have to remember those. Okay? Those are the things that build a good culture. Gotta go back and forth. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So, how do we build it? One of the things that are really important to this, here's where I say, you have that work-life balance or flexibility. This is something I think that we're really good about as a company because we are always, using a flexible schedule. I think that that's our biggest win. You try to accommodate when they have vacations or, young people, if they're involved in a sport, we try to schedule around what they have that's important to them. And that means a lot to people. They're able to do other things and able to work at the same time. So I think that that's something we do really well. And feedback is a real big one too. James, you talked a lot about communication. It's on the list too. These kind of go hand in hand, where you should be giving people constant feedback. You should be telling them what's good and what's bad. If you don't do that, they will think that everything they're doing is absolutely correct, or maybe they don't have to do as much sometimes, depending on the employee. Um, and that's not always true. So if they have a real clear expectation and they get that through feedback and consistent feedback, that's going to help you out. Training, this is, my baby, but where we are with training is kind of starting back to basics. And that's where we need to really view this and look at this. We still have the turnover, but we're trying to, kind of even that out. We have some brand new employees training new employees. So that puts us at a loss. So we want to go back and really start some consistent programs because the training is very important to the retention. Communication, James, you talked about it. I don't ever think you can be great enough at communication. We all need to get better every day. Rewards. You guys all said unanimously that rewards and recognition was something you felt your employees needed from you. So here it is. There's rewards right there in front of you. So try to do that. Do any of you do any special things to recognize your employees?
Yeah, we have like gift cards, like $15 gift cards that we give people. Like if you come in, we give you like a $15 gift card to like uh Five Guys or Dunkin' or something like that.
I was going to say the coffee companies always win on the gift card range, huh?
You
Everybody
ain't
loves their
kidding.
coffee. Barb gave testimony to that earlier. It calms her down. So that's great. So if somebody comes in, does you a favor, you reward them. That's good because most people, your employees, when they see it, Morzonis or Hustlers on the phone, they don't want to answer because
Nope.
they think you're going to ask them to come to work. So that's a good thing to do. Perks. You guys do any perks in your stores? And I'm sure you do. Maybe you're not thinking about it, but do you like bring in goodies or?
Oh yeah, we did. Well, yesterday we went out and I went out and got some because they was like, "Oh, do we have any snacks?" So I went out and got like some pizza bagels and some pizza bites and stuff like that. I
Cooked them
mean,
up, huh?
yeah.
Good. Anybody else do any special things for your crew that they like?
We always have creamer for them, flavored creamers for their coffee.
That's huge. Listen, Brenda has special creamer in her coffee. I'm telling you, an insider, but she's here. She has creamer. She puts in her coffee. She loves it. It smells so good in her office. I just go in so I can smell it. Now, I see that everywhere when I'm not doing cues, so that's a good one. Okay, so the last one is wellness. Wellness is huge because don't you want to keep your employees happy and healthy because you want them to come to work? So, like, just kind of keeping everybody on a happy plane, looking at things you can do. We have a lot of wellness. I'm looking at this from an outside perspective, but like with health, we do wellness checks and we do wellness activities and all kinds of things. It's kind of a fun thing to do if you do wellness inside your store. I know some of them have done Biggest Loser, like around January, they'll start those contests, or they'll do walking in the spring, or do maybe something for a charity. And that's a real good way to get kind of teamwork and company culture moving and going. Okay. So I think we already did this. We kind of went through and we talked about some of the things that you're doing for your culture. And I think that those are good things. It seems like the employees will really enjoy those according to what you said earlier. So when we talk about this positive culture, really it simply comes down to a really basic aspect: value and respect your employees. That is all you really need to do is to break it down simply. Everybody wants to be respected. They want to be communicated to in a good way. They want to know what the role is they play on the team and how important it is. They want to be a part of that team. So when we look at In the second paragraph, what hits me the biggest here is the people first approach. And we need to look at that because we're in hospitality. So we're all about the people and we're all about how we make people happy. And that's internal and external guests. So by focusing on the employees as not only people, but people who make or break our business. That's a very true statement in my mind because how you treat them and how happy they are is how that's reflected to your guests and how happy they are in their experience, and then how they want to come back, how often they want to come back. And of course, that's affected by other things that go on, but we absolutely want them. They look for people. They look for the same faces. They look for the friendly service. They look for the good meal. They look that they're happy. They don't have to clean up after dinner. It's that simple. Those are the real basic needs that we need to meet, and we need to be able to help our employees get there. So fostering the positive culture is going to make that happen on a more consistent basis. So why is it important for restaurants to have positive company culture? They're like, Pam, we just talked about this. We did kind of. It's simple things that we don't always think come together, but it's decreasing that turnover, making people happy and productive. They need to be productive when they're at work. And we want to have that place where they want to come to work. So some of your employees, that they bring their friends in also because they're like, oh, this is a pretty good place to work. They bring friends in. When you have good employees, that's a really good thing. If you don't have the best employee in place, that can't always be the best thing. But so you want to make sure that you have those good employees and then you do bring their friends in because that helps them want to stay and helps them have a good time when they're there because they don't feel like they're missing out. Like there's no FOMO, right? They're just happier to be there. Overall, all of that is going to help increase your revenue. And we know that's what we need to do because that's a direct result to our numbers. And that numbers game is where we live. And when we have higher numbers, it's really easier to run the store. So kind of simple math 101. And again, on the second question, what does the positive restaurant culture look like? It's just when employees feel valued and supported. They want to be a part of that team, like I said. When we actually try to prioritize those things that I talked about earlier, flexibility, communication, clear communication, I should say, respect, when we have a consistent hiring process and orientation process, that helps to create that positive workplace culture. And that's going to help your store overall. The consistency is a big part of that as well. I'm doing some things with training and orientation checklists I'm sending to the stores to help us, to help you to be consistent and hopefully help your trainers and trainees. So what are some areas of improvement? In listening to all of this, anybody have something that's in their mind that they're thinking, oh, I could do this or I could do this better?
I said this last week. The way I approach things, like talking to people, like as a manager rather than an employee. So having conversations differently than I would, as like a cook when I was a cook, like expressing myself differently as a manager as I was as a cook. So it's a line there. And sometimes you get caught up in the aspect of, oh, I know this person, we were work together, we were line buddies. And then you gotta get to that aspect of I'm his boss now. So now I gotta be different.
Absolute good point. And, we have managers in so
Don't
many
you?
different roles today. And that's a big thing that you have to really keep in the front of your mind all the time. Is that line and that proper conversation that you're going to have with employees. Because you should be communicating with them all the time, but you really do have to be very mindful of the conversations that you have. So that's good, James. See, you're learning.
Yeah.
That's what happens every step of the way. Every day is a new learning experience. And that's how you get stronger. And that's how you have better shift. And that's how you get better with your employees. So awesome. Anybody else?
I was gonna say the same thing that he had said, is like changing the way you talk and uh the way your body expressions are from being a server to management. That, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Barb. You hit on a really big key there is body language. Your body language speaks louder than your words. So think about that because you're being very mindful, James, but also, Barb, you're being mindful to your body language, and that's really good too. If you're not looking someone in the eye when you're talking to them, and if you're not stopping what you're doing to pay attention to them, then they're not thinking that it's very important. So, good. I love where you're going with that. Thank you for sharing.
That's been a learning thing for me. That's where I was struggling and I keep catching myself is stop and listen. Stop and engage.
Yeah, that's very important. So good for you. Yeah, sometimes I feel I don't use my words correctly. My mind kind of goes fast, and I think terms come out of my mouth that I could be better with. So I try to slow down and be more mindful of that myself. So good for you. Kudos. All right, so I know we're talking about positive, but there is always some things that go wrong, and there's always some things that happen in the store. You're dealing with a lot of people, you're dealing with a lot of issues, and I think that today, we have different social issues that we deal with. So, we deal with, there are so many people that have so many different things going on in their lives. Also, it's just a whole different thing with communication, where you said, James, it's really good, and we say talk to them, but it's difficult sometimes to talk to a generation that lives on social platform. So, and that's where we are. I know it's really easy to say, oh, those kids have no work ethic and they're nothing. And I'm the old lady, so I can say that. But I mean, I think that it's just really a different social stigma, and we're living in a place where they're living from a social platform and they have never actually extended their skill level to conversation. And that's not something they're comfortable with. So, we're going to talk about some toxic people. So, I have here a whole list of traits of a toxic person in your, well, and you might go down over here and you're probably putting names to a couple of these right now. I see James smiling. So, I think he has a couple in. There's Christine, she got to one. Bar's raising her hand. I see him. I see him. So, I mean, not that these are good, but you know what? Everybody has something happening. And sometimes people have bad days. But when you get to a toxic employee, it's more than one bad day. Everybody, sometimes loses where they want to be. They want to be happy. They want to be positive. But there's that day that you come in that doesn't happen. And we, all get over that. And we talk with them, kind of ease that up, maybe make them laugh a little bit, and it takes care of that situation. But when the situation keeps going, this is when you have to kind of take some type of control over it. You have to do something about it. So sometimes, we have all these different types. I'm going to go through a few of them with you, so we can talk about them. But do you have any bulldozers on your team? Kind of think they're always right. They kind of talk over people. They interrupt. They might argue consistently. They correct people kind of in a humorous way, but maybe it's something. And we're going to go to a worse person. But do you have any bulldozers? Anybody? Oh, Chad's smiling. Oh my God. Oh, Christine's raising her hand. We got a couple bulldozers out there. Okay. Well, keep with it because we're going to talk a little bit about what you need to do with them to make it a little bit better. Let's do the next one. Here, see, this is the next person that's a little worse than the bulldozer, the passive aggressive. So, not that it's worse, but sometimes these individuals, they really don't say what they feel about something. Maybe they don't like the conflict, and what they're doing is kind of bottling things up inside, but they come across. Do you see the passive progressive commercials on TV? It made me think of this when I was going through this slide. So They make that comment, you
No.
know, that is just kind of trying to prove their point without kind of directly having the conflict or the conversation about it. So they tend to bottle things up. They're not happy with what's going on. So like if you have an employee that you ask to get something done, but they're unhappy with that, they don't want to do that. So what they're doing is they're just kind of making snippy remarks or they procrastinating doing it at all. Instead of just asking you about it or like talking about it, they won't do that. So that's our little passive aggressive. The complainer. Well, I bet you've never crossed a complainer in your lifetime. James, you just giggling. It's like they always have like a burr in their side, right? They're never happy. They're just always a lot of negativity, like constant negativity. So there's a tip on this one. For your team's happiness, make sure that you address that complainer as soon as you can. Address their concerns and do it because this can be kind of very negative to your team, and that can kind of bring your team down very quickly. The knowledge hoarder. You know, we have knowledge hoarders now that are by default because we have all these employees coming and going. But a knowledge hoarder is someone who feels like that's their position and they're kind of keeping it because they have the knowledge. So they don't want to really share that knowledge. They want to know they're the person to come to and they're the person who knows. But as a team, we want to be able to have those people that are sharing knowledge so that we get good ideas and we get the whole team aspect. When you have a hoarder, a lot of other people in the team won't want to share their ideas. So, and we want everybody to share ideas. That's how we get the best growth in our company, and that's how, you know, we move forward. So, knowledge hoarders are not good. Um, they have a real detrimental effect on your team morale overall. So, you want to make sure to see why they're feeling this way, and then you want to kind of talk them through it and see if you can't get them to participate. So, the next one is the prideful one. And slow to apologize. They're always right. They're wrong. They don't really admit it. Um, you know, the best way to set an example with them is just to stay humble and kind of set the example for these folks. Okay, this is a big one, the gossiper. We got a lot of people, a lot of different ages, a lot of different things going on. I say restaurant employees are like brothers and sisters. They will fight it out, but if someone else says something about them, they'll come at you. So they're protective. But here we have gossipers, and gossipers are tough. There's you know, we want everyone to have fun and they're talking about different things that are going on, but there's a fine line when the employee chatter goes to gossip about a colleague, or the company itself, things that are going on. People like to talk, but the talk can turn into personal and it could go right to the rumor mill, things spread. And when you ever do that activity where it starts here, ends here, and it's a whole different message and meaning. So that's what the gossip mill is. Gossip brings resentment. It can expose personal things about people, which is not good, and it just causes overall frustration. So this is one you want to nip in the bud. You can see these beautiful signs of the gossiper, and I'm sure that you recognize them right away, huh? I bet you all can give me a yes on having a gossiper on your crew. Yeah, I'm seeing heads bobbing. Not Chad's. Chad has all good employees.
Chad
No.
said that he's like, that's all of our servers.
Well, and you know what? They're your social people. So that's why you're seeing that as a higher percentage. Okay,
Absolutely.
underperformer. Here we go. S slacker. We all have them sometimes, right? They're just disengaged employees. So they're not doing much of anything. They just kind of come see what as little as possible that they can get away with during their shift. They make a lot of excuses about why it's not their fault or why it didn't happen. So, you know, sometimes there's something going on with them that you can find out and you can develop them, you can bring them up. If you just have a habitual slacker, you really need to nip that in the bud and take care of that because that just brings down all of your employees. When you have your, high performers here and then you got your slacker, your high performers get really upset about that when they're allowed to do that. Because then this really bothers your high performers. And you want to keep high performers because they're the ones you can work with. They do more for you and they're going to probably move up the ladder. So you want to make sure that you are finding out whether you can bring these underperformers up or whether maybe we have to weed them out. So, how do we handle these? They are hard to handle, but when it comes down to it, what you want to do is you want to handle them right away because you want them to do the least amount of damage to your crew. And that's what we're talking about is positive work culture and positive environment. So, bulldozers, talk to them regularly and involve other employees so those employees can have their ideas heard. The passive aggressive, well, just foster an open communication with them. A complainer, pay attention to the gripes, but if it is a, consistent negative, then you have to deal with that, usually with some type of disciplinary. So the transfer of knowledge, what you want to do is just have policies and reward the transfer of knowledge so that it's a really good thing and they see that as a positive. Put them in a training role, put them in projects where they have to deal with other people and they have to share. When you have a prideful employee, like I said, it's best to set a good example for them and just be a good example of humility. And gossipers, we talked about them too. Yes, kind of set the ground rule that it's not acceptable and set them back on the track of having some good conversation. A lot of times, gossiping comes into a disciplinary also by taking care of that. Work with underperformers. Make sure you have a good improvement plan for them so you can move them up. If they're not doing the things that they need to be doing, well, then that's how you weed them out. We're still talking about this, but the real important part about this is these toxic people and why we're talking about them is, you heard the saying one bad apple ruins the whole bunch, and that happens very quickly when you have these things going on. You don't want the morale of your crew to go down. You want to keep it high and you want to keep them all productive. So make sure sometimes it's just a bad hire. Sometimes they get the best of you and then you find out they're not going to walk the talk. Then you take care of that. But other people that are there, just talk to them. James, like you said, good communication. You find out what you need to do and you have a plan to improve it. Positive traits. Don't you like to come in and have positive people around you on your shift? How you feel? How does it make you feel? Good?
Good.
And good.
You're gonna have a good
Excited
shift,
to
right?
start the workday.
Well, it's just the same for you. Your crew's doing the same thing to you. When they see you're there, you want to be that manager that they say, oh, this is going to be a good shift. It's going to be a cool shift. I'm glad I'm here. Not, I'm sick. I want to get home. Because they find that way to do that. So make sure those positive traits. What are some of the positive traits of your crew? A good crew.
Hard working.
Okay. Who else? Barb, Chad?
Being on time.
It's crazy.
That's an easy one. But yeah, it's important for your shift, huh? I guess that you're saying that because you also see it that it doesn't
Oh,
happen all the time. Christine, what's
absolutely.
something that you think makes a positive?
Having people that are willing to help everyone
Respecting
around
each
you.
other.
Willing to help. Yes, absolutely. Because that's the team, right? That's the teamwork. That's what makes that shift work. All right. Yasmin, you have anything to say about that? What's a positive trait that you like from your crew?
I would say enthusiasm.
Ah, nice. Motivation, enthusiasm. Yeah, absolutely. Pump up that team, be the cheerleader, right?
Yes.
I know I have you muting and I'm muting, and that's hard, but
Oh, I'm not muted anymore.
so what impact do those positive people have on you?
It makes me it actually makes me better about the shift itself,
Yeah.
knowing that somebody's there that's gonna, help and also do the work they're supposed to be doing. I mean, I don't expect them to do everything, but like if you have somebody that's gonna do their work and help other people, that's always make for a great shift. At least getting a day started, at least.
Yeah, and what does that good shift do? Ultimately, that makes your guests happy. That makes things run the way they're supposed to, and that makes that return and that experience for that guest. So that's really why we want to do it and have it. That's really ultimately our goal on a shift is making sure things run properly, making sure our guests are happy and they want to come back and see us. So, good job, guys. Good job. Um, 8 signs of a healthy company culture. We'll just get down the list because I think that they're very easy. I think sometimes we don't think about them all, but they want to be able to express their opinions. So it makes them feel part of the team. They want to know. They have room to try new things. They want to expand and be challenged mostly. Even if you have an underperformer, you might find out that that's a person who needs a little more and they want to be challenged. Maybe they're just bored. Um, they want to have some authority. Like micromanaging is not good. I've never heard that be good with anyone. So they want to have a little bit of authority in their roles, but I always say trust and verify. That's what I always tell my managers, trust and verify. So they want to make friends at work. They want to have that high level of trust. That builds the relationships when you have trust. Celebrate each other's wins. That's part of that recognition, when you're celebrating the win for everybody, that makes it happy for everyone. That team effect, that team effort, how I get them to all work together. And then they need to be comfortable asking for help. So you're going to be that figure and you're going to have some more training on that. Are you approachable? How is that communication? And you're going to learn some more about that. You'll probably learn a little bit more about yourself. So, well, we already talked about this. What impact do they have? Well, they make your job easier overall. And we have that guest experience, which is our number one goal. And I think that we talked about ideal culture. So, what do you all think that company culture is?
I would assume the same culture as same culture as anything else. You want good relationships, positive vibes, good business practice, and happy employees.
Okay, that's good. Brenda's going to talk a little bit more about it. So, just kind of wanted to get your ideas on some of this. Workplace positive culture, respect and fairness, trust and integrity, teamwork, communication, employee engagement. If you don't have them engaged, you're going to lose them. Diversity, keep that in mind. Just the respect portion is huge. Guest service and servant leadership. Sometimes we just have to be that person leading by example, and doing what's right. That's what servant leadership is. It's just doing what's right. So, like, if you see something on the floor, do you pick it up or do you walk past it? That's just doing what's right. And so you do that servant leadership with people. You do what's right to help out your crew if somebody's having a bad time, and that extends and that grows. All right. So this is kind of a wrap up for my section, but I just want to talk about this again and just tell you about the things that you can do to really help define your company culture and make it stronger. So the first one is professional development. So when you are talking about the opportunities for your crew, that they can be a CDT, they can be on a committee, they can be an open close, they can work their way into management. There are a lot of opportunities and challenges for them within our company. make sure that you define what the core values are. They're very simple for our company, and we try to put it there because it's easy to remember and it's easy to execute. So define the core value of your store and live it every day. Hire for culture fit. We always say when you hire for personality because you can teach the task. But we're in hospitality, so you got to kind of have that personality, kind of have to like people, or you're probably not really in the right business. Same thing, hire for your culture fit. What is the culture of your store? Make sure that you think about that as you're hiring people. Emphasize the communication. Like I said, can never be good enough. Make sure that that communication starts at the top and you have your management team that's really talking on the same page, and then it trickles down to your employees. Keep talking to them about things in the store so they all understand what the end goal is. You got to foster the positive work environment. So that's just treating them all with respect, looking at the rewards and recognition, talking to them, giving them feedback, and engaging them in what they're doing every day. So I think, James, you said it and you had it too with just keep that communication going and keep it on track, keep that mindfulness on track. And Bren, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to talk about, and if you can just put it to the next slide, Pam. So there's your slide. And then the next one. You turn it to me. Can I control it?
Yep. Well, you might have to have it on your screen. Okay, I'm going.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I muted
we have
myself
two,
too.
yeah,
So.
we have two screens.
This is our
so, yeah.
technical difficulty. Sorry, we're side by side. We can't do it. So
Yeah. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit is I believe Pam had touched a lot with regard to employees and what culture with regard to working with different individuals. So what I want to talk about is what possibly employees would look for in a company, or as a restaurant manager, what type of culture in your environment do you want to promote? So a lot of the time that we did the surveys and we received a lot of information with regard to employees wanting to feel valued and respected and informed and know expectations. So it's like employees want to know and be a part of everything that's going on or something that's going on in the store. So it's being a part of the growth of the company and knowing what that culture is. And having a strong company culture, of course, motivates people to do their best. So the work environment culture should be one that's supportive, open-minded. You want to be the person that makes your employees promotable, give them opportunities. So there's various different things that the work environment can do for an employee, and we want to promote that. And, we want to have happy employees. So when you have happy employees, it makes them want to succeed and do better and be motivated. So how do you, as managers, and you can all unmute yourselves if you want, because we can just do interaction. And I'll just ask, and if you want to. So what are some things that you do to boost morale in your store, Christine?
I try to always make sure that, like, especially after a busy shift, I make sure everyone knows that they did well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do their work, and I appreciate it.
That's good. Good. How about the State College crew there?
Help them. I help them with like bussing tables and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Keep the respect, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And that's supporting. I mean, you're supporting them and giving them the respect. I
Yeah.
always say the quote to myself, like, you got to get respect. In order to get respect, you got to give respect.
Mhm.
And I've just been recently into a different role, and it is like you want to promote that environment where your employees want to come to work. So that's something that always, in the back of my mind in the morning when I'm coming to work, what do I want to do today to make it a good work environment for the employees in our department? So what do you want to do to make a great working environment while they're there? because you want employees to want to come to work. So,
Yeah.
as managers, you're the person that can be their coach and keep them positive and do the little things that make them feel important. How about you, James? What does Greenwood do?
Well, usually we like get the morale up. We'll play music outside of the music that is in here in the back because
Mhm.
that's where the tension usually is back there.
Mhm,
So I
mhm,
would learn after like a busy rush or something, you just
mhm.
play some music that somebody likes and they just
Right.
get to normal.
Mhm. And I have a note here on my notes. It's how well do you know your crew? Like, what do you know about your crew that keeps them motivated to continue to work and to be motivated to work? So, just knowing that they like that music and that may make their day go quicker or faster or more positive. I mean, that's a great thing. And then on the other hand, is when the guests see these employees that are having fun, what do you think guests think when they come into that restaurant about that environment?
Great management staff.
Yeah, 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 exactly. They think, wow, these people are really enjoying their job and love what they're doing. And, you often hear the saying, smiles are contagious. Everybody's smiling. And what kind of a dining experience does that give to the guests?
A
So
good
that's,
one.
with regard to culture, that's promoting the atmosphere that the people work in and the atmosphere that the guests dine in. So you think of it and you look at it two different ways. So, Pam, next slide, please. And all this stuff that we do, you all hear about how strong is the company culture? How well do we engage with our employees? What is the retention we have of employees? How about turnover? What is the branding identity of our restaurant? And how do you elevate productivity? So those are some pretty strong things. And the HR department, we've been stressing a lot with regard to engagement and retention and how do you decrease the turnover? And, what is Marzoni's and Haas's? What is our brand? How do we identify? How well do people know us? And do employees want to come and work for us? So there's things that you can think of and behaviors, like the different behaviors. And I stressed again, like with regard to, you want happy employees that want to be there. So, because if you have a miserable person or employee, like Pam described all those different individuals, what does that do for morale and motivation? Is it going to want people to stay there and want to work?
No.
No. So if they're not enjoying and having fun, I mean, there's a time to have fun, there's a time to get down to business and do it. But, you always want to make sure you're having fun and you enjoy what you're doing. And you as managers, you enjoy managing employees. But while you're there, you want to make sure that the employees are keeping up with their morale and motivating them to be productive. And, you want to decrease the turnover and you want to keep them. So there's a lot of different things that you can do in order to prevent some of these things that are happening. Next page, Pam. So I like this quote. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. So can you all say that every day when you get up in the morning, do you say, I love what I do? Do y'all like what you do? Some days,
Someday, most
most
days,
days.
most days.
Most days.
There you go.
Yeah. Um, there's days, but it's just you enjoy what you're doing or you wouldn't be doing it, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you like being with the employees and the crew that you're with. So why not, make it a great place to work? Make people want to love to come to work at Haas's or Marzoni's. You're the ones that can make or break the environment, really. Most of the time, like if you're coming in and you're miserable, what's your crew going to be like?
Miserable.
Miserable.
Yeah. And we've all worked for that miserable supervisor that, possibly at one time. So, it does make a difference when you work for a great supervisor who's upbeat, motivated, supportive, enthusiastic. You're the cheerleader. You're the person that, keep them going. So I like that quote, and I like smiley faces. I'm a smiler, so I like to smile all the time. So, and then the next screen. So as leaders, employees want to trust you. Good leaders give employees opportunities to grow. So think about that, um, as a leader or a supervisor, the crew that you're working with, if you give them that opportunity and give them different things that they're responsible for and give them the different opportunities to grow, that makes them feel like, wow, I'm really part of something and they think that I am really important. So it's making your employees feel like they have stake in this, so, that's a great leader. Proud to be part of a company that promotes a positive work environment. We all say we want to be positive. So, to create a positive work environment, it means to let the employees know what's going on, give them the knowledge, train them, communicate them, make sure they're well informed, and give them the proper tools that they need in order to do their job. Because it could be so frustrating if they don't have the proper tools to do that, and then it doesn't promote a positive work environment. So the more information you give them and the more support you give them, that gives them many opportunities to grow. Enjoy your work environment and your coworkers. So while you're there at work, make sure you're enjoying it and having fun and, checking in on your employees. I always say, like, just going around and saying hey to everybody, like when you're there, and, just how's it going? What's going on? Just, touch base. It doesn't take that long, just a couple minutes or so. And I know Christine stressed like the work-life balance. I mean, that means so much. And I think Pam did talk about it. Is Haas's and Marzonis has such a flexible schedule that you are, you're able to have holidays off, spend time with your family. And I think that's, one of the things that stands out as us as a restaurant, that we do give you all the major holidays off so that you can spend time with your family. Being proud to be part of a company that cares for their employees, and promote positive work environment, make work fun. You still got to meet the goals, but you can have fun doing it. So, I like that: work hard and then the life's in the middle, and then enjoy. We all work hard, we have a life, and then we got to make sure that we enjoy it too. So next screen. So the big question is, why would applicants choose our organization? Is our company culture known? How many people outside of Haas's or Marzonis, if you would talk to anybody, would they know what Haas's and Marzonis is about? Would they have an idea what type of company we are?
The regulars.
Would they know?
Yeah, a lot about regulars ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm. How about applicants? When you get applicants that come in, do you ask them if they know anything about Haas's or Marzonis? Like, what made them come here?
Yeah, I asked them what made them choose this, and like in the interview, I'm like, what made you choose Marzonis? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm,
oh,
mm-hmm,
my friend told me about it, and I'm like,
And isn't that like, when you get that word of mouth out in the community where people know, hey, Marzonis is a great place to work. Hey, they have a good management staff that cares about their employees. Haas's is a great place to work. They take care of their employees. They give them the major holidays off. They're all about flexibility. Different things that, should be known because, that's what our culture is. And I know I'm dating myself, and, I've been around for a long time. And Haas's and Marzonis, it does have that family atmosphere. I believe that the crew should be like family, and you work together, and you get along, and you're meeting these goals, and you're together with them a majority of the time. So you have to get along with them, and you might as well make it fun and enjoy it while you're doing it. Any other comments regarding, like, what would people say about our restaurants? How about the crew there in State College? What would they say about State College Haas's? Why would somebody want to come work for you guys?
Because we're very family oriented here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets treated like family, from the guests to the crew.
How about the great food and the great service too? Do you guys have good food? Do you have good service? I'd hope so.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
I hope we're known for our good food. How about the salad bar? The salad bar, that should be
That's our
known
number
throughout.
one.
Like, yeah, like that's our showcase, our showpiece, or our masterpiece. Like that people come to Hoss's, and then the pizza at Marzoni's, or the brewing of the beer. You
Yeah.
know, that could be. What are you known for? Oh, we're known for our pizza. Or we're known for our beer, and like things like that. So, what I mean, just getting the name out into the community and getting the positive reinforcement out there so that we can get applicants to come back or come in and want to apply for us, and then to have the guests want to come back and dine with us. So it works both ways with employees and with guests. And culture is all of what your reputation is, which is the next slide. So we talked about having an excellent atmosphere. Employees want to work for your restaurant. Quality food. One of the things is the food consistent? The quality, is it hot? Is the appearance good? So there's different things that you could be known for. Oh, well, Hoss's has great steaks. They always come out this way. They're consistent. The salad bar, we talked about that. Marzoni's with their different types of pizzas and stuff. Guest satisfaction, that should be one of the major things too. Like guests are happy. You don't get any negative surveys. You get all good surveys. And the big one is, are we the restaurant of choice? There's so many restaurants out there. How do we stand out and be the competitive, great one that has, that people want to come to dine with us? And again, the community known, get out there in the community, so people know who you are and what the restaurant is and what we have there for them. And again, reputable. What's the reputation? Do you want a good reputation or do you want a bad reputation? What do you want to be known for?
I need to go out with
I'm
the
hoping
cook.
all good,
I need to go out there because Jimmy's leaving.
Any questions on that?
I don't
And the
know.
next slide.
Orb, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. My cook's getting ready to leave and I
That's
gotta go
okay.
replace.
I just wanted you to know. It's
But
just kind of
thanks,
some reverb and stuff.
Yeah, my cook's leaving and I gotta go replace him. So I'm gonna be stepping out. Chad's gonna take notes for me.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. No problem. So our core
Alright.
values and beliefs, caring, the golden rule. So you want to work by the golden rule. You want to treat others, guests, and coworkers as you would like to be treated. And I know that Bill Campbell has always been like, that's one of the things that he's always lived by. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Always strive to exceed our standards. Never give up, no matter what. Like, Pam had said about the COVID. Nobody wants to hear about that, but guess what? We made it through, we got through it, and we're still here. So that's a big accomplishment. And we should be very proud that, a lot of us that were in that time frame, like, we worked hard and we never gave up. And that's another thing with regard to being in the restaurant industry. It's a very competitive industry. And as long as we keep, thriving to be the best and never give up, just keep going forward. And I stress this a lot, is being consistent with fair, firm, and consistency. So in all your dealings with your guests and your coworkers, if you're fair, firm, and consistent, you shouldn't have any issues. And then lead by example. My 3 C's are competence, character, and commitment. So you're always competent, your character is great, and you're committed to doing a great job and, withstanding it to the highest standards. And you always lead by example and practice what you preach. We strive on having that family atmosphere, having the best restaurant. We want to have the best food, the best steaks and all that. So, and, we want to instill all the beliefs and, and have those core values and be that restaurant of choice that people want to come and dine at. So my last slide is, and I always say this, if you can't find the sunshine, you want to be the sunshine. And I love that saying because no matter how great it can get, there's always sunshine somewhere and it'll come up and, it's going to always be, great day and just keep on smiling and, moving forward. And then I think the next slide is if anybody has any questions. And we're just exactly at 3 o'clock.
Wow. Imagine that.
Yeah.
All right, if nobody has any questions, we'll end for today. Thank you all. And don't forget, next week is your in-person day here. So you're going to have a good day. It's a lot of activity and you're going to enjoy it. So here at the home
Thank you,
office.
everyone. Have a great afternoon. See ya. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.